Blue Jackets get revenge on the Dallas Stars with a big 6-4 win. Kirill Marchenko is a superstar, and it's going great. Everything's good. We're all happy. That's what's coming today on Locked on Blue Jackets.
You're Locked on Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked on Blue Jackets, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get things started, I want to thank everyone for making this maybe not your first listen of the day, but maybe it is, even though it's, 10 p.m. there, it's fine. Thank you for listening. I am, as always, your host. We're here to give the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. I've already done that. I'm doing great here. I was going to say it's very late. It's not. I don't even have that excuse. Welcome. We're free and available on all podcast platforms. We're over on YouTube. And I also have to let you know that this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Let's talk about the game. Because it was kind of stressful, but also kind of fun. Started strong, finished strong. Got a bit wobbly in the middle, but hey, 2 points is 2 points, right? Blue Jackets back in a playoff position, so we'll check in with the playoff race. I want to talk about Kirill Marchenko. I've just noticed that I have put an error on my little sideboard here. I meant to put overcame bad goaltending because this was not Elvis Merzlikins' brightest moment, but hey, a bad game from Elvis, but they still got the win, so we love to see it. I'm assuming that most of y'all are going to be everydayers. You guys have been here before. You know the drill. I'll talk for a while. If you guys have comments or questions, throw them in the chat. And if you have questions, especially, the third segment is usually where I'll answer some fan questions, some listener questions, things like that. So stick around for then. If you have a question, throw it in the chat now. I am going to not look at the chat for the first couple of segments because I am very stupid and can only do one thing at once. And that one thing right now is talking. I can't talk and read at the same time. So I will get to your comments in the third segment. But until then, let's talk about how fun that game was. It was a real, everyone did just great kind of game. I want to talk about the goaltending in a little bit, but in terms of like forwards, in terms of defensemen, like all of the skaters, really, I thought did a really, really solid job. Obviously, you put 6 goals up on the Dallas Stars. You put 5 goals up on Jake Oettinger, who is one of the best goalies in the league. You outwork the Stars in basically every single period. And again, 6 goals against a team that does not allow a lot of goals, right? Like 6 goals on 29 shots. Great. Top line led the way. The Voronkov 2 assists, Fantilli goal and an assist. Was the goal an empty netter? Yes. Does it still count? Also, yes. I know that I always say that empty netters don't count, but when they're Adam Fantilli, they do count. So shush. Obviously Kirill Marchenko, 2 goals and I believe an assist, but I might be wrong about that. No assist, just 2 goals for Marchenko, goal and assist for Fantilli, 2 assists for Voronkov, goal and an assist for Ivan Provorov as well. I thought that they might give that goal to Sillinger. I thought he got a stick on Provorov's goal, but as of right now, Provorov's goal, a real grab bag of offense as well. I think I don't remember if it was yesterday that I talked about this or late last week sometime, but the Blue Jackets are constructed in kind of a top-heavy way when it comes to the offense, right? Like, it's really only the top 2 lines that are contributing to, like, the actual scoring. I think the bottom 2 lines are doing very well in terms of, the typical checking role, the defensive role. They're doing pretty good there, but they're not putting up a ton of points. Tonight, all 4 lines got a goal. Mathieu Olivier finally got his 11th of the season. James Van Riemsdyk got his 12th of the season. 2 assists for Sean Kiraly as well. He's been quiet on the score sheet tonight. An assist for Kiraly. But points for I think 11, 12 different Blue Jackets, which is really, really great to see. Like, again, putting up 5 goals on a goalie like Ottinger is great. That's the 11th time the Blue Jackets have, in fact, it's the 11th time the Blue Jackets have scored 6 or more goals in a game, which is, I believe, a franchise record or tied a franchise record, but a real everyone did just great game when we're looking at the skaters, right? Like Kirill Marchenko wanted revenge, I think, for his broken jaw. I thought he was far and away the best skater on either team tonight. And this is all of this is not to say that like the Stars weren't good. There are some very, very good stuff. Like Wyatt Johnson is just a monster. Like I can't wait to not have to play him again. Because we only play the Stars twice a season. Like, I'm so glad to be done with having to play Wyatt Johnson, Jason Robertson as well. Like, Logan Stankoven is going to be a rock star in this league. Like, they've got so many good pieces. I think that's why winning against them is always so great, right? Like, and the game a couple of weeks ago was not ideal. Blue Jackets lost on a controversial call, I think it's fair to say. And obviously the injuries of that game, like Pucha, stick to the face, Dante Fabro, elbowed in the head, Marchenko, the broken jaw, like Werenski got banged up in that game, so really, really good to welcome them, quote unquote, to Nationwide and put not necessarily a beat down on them, but Columbus was by far the better team for basically all of the game. And that's both offensively and defensively. They limited the Dallas Stars to only 23 shots on goal, which the Dallas Stars are one of the best shooting teams in the league. They average almost 30 shots a game. And so if you're holding them to, less than 25, that's a pretty good night, right? Now, again, the goaltending struggled on both sides, Jake Ottinger, 5 goals on, I think, 28 shots. It ended up being, so, not a great night. Elvis was also not great. I think he allowed 3 goals on his first 9 shots of the game, I believe it is. Or on his first 50, I think it was on his first 15 shots. Then he kind of pulled it back a little bit, but still not a great performance from Elvis, which we would do, really. He's had 3 good games in a row prior to this. He was excellent against Chicago. We would do a bad game. And, we were kind of talking about this a little bit on Twitter. They are almost definitely going to play Tarasov against the Red Wings on Thursday, and then have Elvis in the outdoor game. So get your bad game out of the way now. Let him rest for the next kind of 4 days. I know that he's just had like a 2-week rest, but we talk about this all the time. He's not the most durable goaltender. He's not built to start, 70 games in a season like UC Saros is. You have to be able to rest him when you can. And like, honestly, you have to be able to play your backup, which has kind of also been a topic of conversation this season, is you have to be able to play Tarasov. And if you're not able to play Tarasov, you need to do something about it, right? So my guess is Tarasov plays Thursday, and then Mozikins will come back on Saturday. Mozikins has been pretty good for a lot of the season. Again, he has good games and bad games. Tonight just happened to be not one of his better games. I will say he very nearly kind of pulled it back into respectability. I don't love the 4th goal that was allowed. Like, I think it really could have gone either way. I don't think it was goalie interference, and I especially don't think it was interference enough that, like, it was worth challenging, because I think they would have lost it. But it also felt a little bit like if they'd called it goalie interference on the ice, like if the call was no goal because of goalie interference and it was challenged, I think they would have lost that challenge as well, right? So, like, it felt like it could have gone 50-50. I don't think Elvis was really impeded in his ability to make a stop. I think he was just kind of pushed out of position, just kind of by dint of being out of position, right? It was just not a great goal, but I'm not like mad that he allowed it, especially, he did make some good saves in the game. And the Blue Jackets, they managed to outscore the goaltending, which they've kind of been doing a lot of this season has been, they get a good game from Elvis and they forget how to score, or the goaltending isn't great, but they remember how to score goals. And like, there's been a lot of games where the goaltending has been good and also the goal scoring has been good, but I'm glad that this was one of those games where they managed to outscore subpar goaltending. because it's way less frustrating than like getting excellent goaltending from Elvis and then losing 2-1 in overtime, right? Like the Sharks game at the beginning of the season where Vitek Vanacek made like 50 saves or something stupid like that. So overall, pretty good game. I want to talk about it in a little bit more detail, and then I will dive into some of your comments, questions in the chat. So we'll do that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I've got to tell you about Indeed. Did you just realize that your business needed to hire someone yesterday? How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster. I've been in that spot. I need a job yesterday. The pressure is on. And honestly, I just opened up Indeed and picked the job at the top of the page. And that's where we come in. You can get a $75 sponsored job credit, which means that your job post will go to the top of the page, and people will see them. More people will see them, and more people will click on them. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now. Get a $75 sponsored job credit. Support our show by telling them you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions do apply. Hiring, Indeed is all you need. All right, let's talk a little bit more about the game, because again, lots of things to like, some things to not like so much. I do want to talk about special teams. The Blue Jackets penalty kill is slowly improving. They've only allowed, I think what the broadcast said, that they've only allowed one power play goal in their last 4 games. Now 5 games. The Blue Jackets went 3 for 3 on the kill tonight. They're currently sitting at 25th in the league. So, like, not great, but not the basement, right? And I thought the penalty kill was very strong tonight. Like, it looked like it was functioning like a penalty kill, right? There was a bunch of shorthanded chances. I don't have the numbers in front of me of like what the breakdown was in terms of like scoring chances per power play. I am trying to pull that up as we speak. At 5 on 4, the Stars had 9 shot attempts, 3 actual shots on 6 minutes of power play, and allowed 1 scoring attempt, 1 shot attempt, and 1 shot, which I assume is basically just like the same thing. So again, averaging 1 shot a power play, pretty good. And I believe it was the 4-minute double minor that Matejchuk sat 3 shots on that, and then the power play for the Stars near the end-ish of the game, no shots allowed on that. Only 2 shot attempts, and 1 scoring chance in that final 2-minute minor. So again, a great defensive performance on the penalty kill. It continues to improve, I think. The power play is the power play, right? I was sitting with my wife. We were watching the game, and I did say something along the lines of like, "Man, I wish the Columbus Blue Jackets power play was not just a clown car of disappointment, because it really does just feel like you open the door and bad power plays keep stepping out, right? It's just, I feel like the Benny Hill music should be put over the top of the power play sometimes. It's just comical. Similarly, them trying to score on an empty net at the end of the game, comical in a different way. Power play went 0 for 2 tonight, I believe. Yeah. They did get some looks. They had 2 shots. So on average, a shot a power play, which is not ideal. 5 shot attempts. So not as lethal as the Stars, but the penalty kill for the Blue Jackets was good. The penalty kill for the Stars was also good. Like all of the goals that were scored tonight, and there was 10 of them, came or 9 of them, I think, not counting Adam Fantilli's empty net goal, came at even strength. So 9 out of your 10 goals at even strength. The Blue Jackets continue to be one of the best teams in the league at even strength goals, which I believe they are second in the league in goals. I'm just pulling that up now. At 5 on 5 goals, they've scored, I don't know if this counts tonight's goals yet, but they have 132 5-on-5 goals. The only team better is the Washington Capitals, who have 139 5-on-5 goals. Like, imagine what the Blue Jackets could do if the power play was, 3% better, right? If they were scoring, I can probably look up how it's going. Actually, they've scored. They're 22nd in the league in power play goals. They've scored 28 of them. Imagine if they were scoring at the same rate as the Washington Capitals, who they're kind of on par with in terms of 5-on-5 offense. They've scored 34. Like, that might be the difference between, one or two more wins, which is kind of key at this point. I do want to check in a minute with the standings, the scoring rate, the playoff race, etc. But like, if you can get the power play clicking for this team, they were 10th in the league for a little while there. They had a top 10 power play, and then it all just kind of fizzled and fell apart. They got a power play goal from Kent Johnson, I believe it was, on Saturday against the Blackhawks. Like, more of that, please. More Kent Johnson goals, first of all, but also more power play goals, because that's where you start to win and lose games, right? Like, if the Blue Jackets had 3 more wins, let's say, because of like power play opportunities, they would be sitting, I believe, tied for second in the division, depending on regulation wins and goal differential and things like that. I believe they'd at least be sitting third, because they'd have the same number of points as the Devils, but they have a game in hand. So, which, by the way, Blue Jackets are 6 points out of third in the Metro with a game in hand over the Devils. Devils, I don't think played today, but I might be wrong about that. They played on Sunday, and then they play Colorado tomorrow. So we could really do with them like losing to Colorado tomorrow. That would be helpful. We'll see how that goes. But still, quick rundown of what's going on with the playoff race, because the Blue Jackets are back in a playoff position right now. Detroit Red Wings are currently sitting at 64 points. So are the Blue Jackets. Detroit Red Wings have a game in hand, but the Jackets have jumped over the Ottawa Senators, who are currently sitting on 62 points. They're on a 4-game losing streak right now. The Bruins either just lost or are in the process of losing. I don't know if their game is over yet. Yep, they lost to Toronto in overtime, which is ideal. I could have done with a regulation loss, but they are currently sitting at 62 points. The Rangers at 60 points. The Canadians at 59. So are the Flyers. They both won tonight. The Islanders sitting at 57 points, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, who also lost tonight, are sitting at 55. Again, I might just start counting the Penguins out, because they are now 9 points out of a playoff spot. And like, honestly, I might count the Islanders out as well. They are, I can do math on the fly. They are 7 points out. So Flyers, who are just above them, Flyers and the Canadians at 59 points each. They're 5 points out of a playoff spot, so they're still in that kind of quote-unquote danger zone, but really helped out tonight by the Islanders losing, the Penguins losing, the Bruins losing, and the Senators, I think, play tomorrow is their key. Like, not ideal that the Flyers won, the Canadians won, and the Rangers won, but the Rangers and the Flyers were both playing against, so the Rangers played against the Islanders, the Flyers played against the Penguins. So, like, at least I believe both of their games finished in regulation and in convincing fashion as well. So, like, I'll take it, right? In terms of what's coming up, obviously the big thing is the Blue Jackets are playing the Red Wings twice in the next 2 games, which is a huge duo of games, right? Like, it might be whoever wins these 2 games makes the playoffs. The Blue Jackets lost the first game of the series against them. I believe this was so it was 5-4. I believe this was the like last minute goal, or they like allowed the game winning goal in like not garbage time, but I feel like it was like 2.5 minutes left in the game. Even worse, 36 seconds left in the game, and the Red Wings won. So again, frustrating game, but the Blue Jackets can still A, win the season series, B, win on March 1st at the Shoe outdoors, and also make the playoffs. It's gonna be interesting. The Blue Jackets still have all 3 of their games to play against the Senators as well, who are just 2 points behind them in the standings. But we are starting to see a little bit of separation in terms of who's winning, who's pulling ahead of the pack, right? And it seems like the Islanders are flagging, the Flyers are kind of hanging in there. The Penguins have started flagging, the Sabres have fallen out of it. So 2 thumbs up from me. And what's coming up next in terms of the playoff race I already mentioned. Ottawa is playing Winnipeg tomorrow, so we could do with Winnipeg winning that. The Devils are playing Colorado. Again, we could do with the Devils losing, see if the Blue Jackets can sneak into third in the Metro. I think it will be fun. The Islanders and the Bruins are playing each other on Thursday. The Sharks are playing the Habs. So again, we could do with my only hope is that the Islanders Boston game ends in regulation. We want a Sharks regulation win against Montreal. We want again, the Flyers and the Penguins are playing each other again, which they just did that tonight. The schedule is weird. Again, a regulation finish there is ideal, and that's kind of it for the next couple of days. So lots of teams in play. But tomorrow could really do with Winnipeg winning and Colorado winning. So I'll keep you guys updated on the playoff race. But like I said, we are starting to see not much, but like a little bit of separation. And I think as the trade deadline marches closer, you're gonna see teams that are, like the Islanders, that are maybe gonna start throwing in the towel, right? You got to imagine that the Flyers and the Canadians, if they have a rough week coming up, they're also going to start, throwing in the towel, and it's going to come down to the Red Wings, the Blue Jackets, the Senators, and the Bruins are probably going to be like the last team standing. So the Blue Jackets just have to keep pace with those teams and also stay ahead of the rest of the teams. So again, Blue Jackets just keep doing what they're doing, stay where they are, and it should be playoff time in Columbus come April. Going to take another quick break, and then when we get back, I'm going to dive into the comments, see if there's any questions in there, and have a little bit more fun before we wrap up this live edition of Locked On Blue Jackets. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. Let's talk about... Oh, this is not a question, but 6 goals, no points for Zach. RIP the streak. Yeah, it sucks, man. Again, I was watching the end of the game and I was like, what I really want here is a Kirill Marchenko empty net goal for the hat trick, assisted by Zach Werenski, and I didn't get either of those things, which is kind of disappointing, but I'm sure they would rather have the win than the individual accolades, right? Because that's just kind of how hockey is. But can we talk about how insane that streak is for a second? Obviously it's over, but 22 straight home games with a point, which is good for third among NHL defensemen all time. The only guys that did better, Paul Coffey, Bobby Orr. Pretty good company for Werenski to be in. Also, despite the fact that the streak is over, I did some math about this a couple of weeks ago. Of the, 20-something home games that the Blue Jackets have had so far this season, they are at 29 home games, I believe it is. Only 4 of them do not have a Zach Werenski point. Again, just a wild stat. And the streak was great. He's going to start another streak at the Shoe, which kind of, I don't need to have my questions answered now. Does that count as a home game if he doesn't get a point at the Shoe? And I think the answer is yes, it does count as a home game, but it doesn't count in my heart if Zach Werenski didn't get a point. But they didn't make me answer that question, so it's great. Start a new streak then. go off. Like, expecting Zach to have a big game on Saturday at the shoe. He's had all of his games this year have been big games, but like it really feels like Zach Werenski is gonna pop off at the shoe, right? Like it just feels like he's gonna have a huge game. Like Zach Werenski hat trick, why not? Not necessarily a question about the Blue Jackets, but Andy Maines, let's talk about the Caps game on April 12th. What was the reason for the time change? My guess is that they want to put that game on national TV. I don't know what number game that is in terms of the Capitals, but obviously Ovechkin's coming up on that goal scoring record. I think he's 13 goals away. I think they might be trying to game out when is he going to score, and they want that on national TV, right? Like, if he's going to break the record, they want to be able to have that on national TV. I don't know if that's going to happen. Like, I don't know if it's gonna game out like that. But the Capitals have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I've lost it. Where is it? It was March something, right? Oh no, it was April 12th. Excuse me. I can count. It's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. That's okay. So there's 21 games between now and then. Ovechkin needs 13 goals. I think they might have gamed it out and are like, right, this is likely the game that he's gonna do it. Obviously, he scored his first ever NHL goal against the Blue Jackets, so like, in the grand scheme of things, that would be a fun narrative. However, for my sake, I hope it doesn't happen then. Like, it can either happen directly before or directly after. I just don't want it to be against the Blue Jackets because we're going to see that highlight for the rest of time. I don't know if he scored today. Oh, he did score today. He's got 30 on the season, so he's down to 12 goals. So that's my guess anyway, is that they had to change the time for broadcasting reasons, and the broadcasting reasons are that they want to put it on national TV because they think that he's going to score his, 890, like his 895th goal, which would be the NHL record. That's my guess anyway. Don't think I have any more questions. Okay, that's a fair point, Andy. I hope it happens then. I'll be in the building. He can break the records, but the Jackets can win the game. Yeah, okay, that's fair. They can have one goal, and the Blue Jackets can score 17. Maybe not 17 goals, but like a 6-1 win, I would take that. I'd be frustrated by it, but as long as the Blue Jackets win, I guess that's the more important thing, right? I actually was talking with my wife about this, and I decided that, like, with the news that when he gets within 5 of the record, the NHL and Wayne Gretzky is going to start traveling with the Capitals for like when it happens, and which means there's like 2 really funny things that could happen. One is he could have a 6-goal game, and so they haven't even arrived to follow him around yet, or he gets within like 1 or 2 goals of the record and then stops scoring, and the goals just dry up. I think both of those things will be hilarious, and I would love for one of those things to happen because I just think it would be really funny. Anyway, that's 17 would make the highlight reel hilarious. Do I think it'll happen? No, but I think, again, really, really funny. I think that's kind of all I've got time for today. If anyone has a question, they can get it in real quick under the wire while I do my rambling little outro here. But thanks, guys, for coming to hang out. There's a bunch of you hanging out right now. I appreciate the interaction in the chat. It's always fun to do these live shows after a win. And I feel like I've done more of them this season than my entire tenure on this show, because the Blue Jackets are like fun and winning games, which is great. And I appreciate you guys all coming to hang out. Thank you for listening, for making it maybe not your first listen of the day, but your second listen, perhaps. I dare to dream. I'll be back tomorrow. I've got a couple of fun episodes for you. I've got an interview that's dropping, and I've also got some more extended prospect talk as well. I sat down with Sebastian High, and we talked about a bunch of different Blue Jackets prospects. So those are coming out tomorrow. And thank you for listening to this episode, for making it your first listen, etc., etc. I've done that already. Shut up, Jay. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can find the show at LO_Blue Jackets. I have been your host. Until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.